Okay, great. So yeah, thank you very much. So the title of my talk is The Overlooked Potential of the Comic Medium to Teach Process-Heavy Statistical Concept. And as you said, it's a call for collaboration. So an overview of my talk will be, first I will tell you a bit about who I am and what's the project Greliche that I will talk about. Then I will tell you about the benefits of comics for science education and statistics in particular, the benefits that are known and the benefits that I think are overlooked. And then I will illustrate these overlooked benefits that I identified of the comic medium with an illustration from an extract from the comic Greliche. And then I will finish with a call for collaboration. So first, who I am. Well, my name is Nicolas, and I have a background a bit eclectic in statistics. I've learned statistics in an engineering school in France. I've worked for 2 years for the French Institute of Statistics before I left the institute to do a master's and then a PhD in statistical genetics. Followed by a very short assistant professor position in statistics. And this is after that I started to really learn how to draw, thinking that it would be helpful for me for the future. And this is also when I got really interested in comics, the comic medium, to explain complicated stuff, especially statistics. And at the same time, I was some kind of statistics advisor for diverse type of public. Psychology student when I was working in a university in Singapore. Health practitioners when I was working in a hospital in Paris, and researchers in agroecology when I was working for Stats4SD in the UK. But then I got frustrated, really frustrated recently, because it had been a while that I had some projects in mind, most of them related in some way or other into statistics education, and I couldn't manage to spend enough time on it. So I decided to quit my job and to move to Madrid to be an independent researcher and dedicate my time fully on these projects. One of these projects, the main one at the moment I'm working on, is the comic Greliche. So if you type in your browser greliche.fr, you will get to the webpage of my comic, which is, I'm happy to announce, in addition to be available in French, from last week it is also available in English. And if you type on your arrow key in your laptop or computer, you will be able to start reading a story, which I think is fun and interesting, where at times within the story, the protagonist will explain a few statistical concepts very informally, and then in some more formal yet still informal breaks, the protagonist will also go over some concepts in research methods or statistics. For example, in this page, the protagonist explains what is and how and what's useful with the box plots, how to construct it. And then after this break, the story continues, and then we have another break related to the last scene of the story, etc. So that's the comic part. But if you look at the left on my screen, you'll see that associated with the comic, there's also some teaching resources that I made and I based on the comic. And there is also a part about academic work. For now, there's not much in it because it's still new, but I hope it will fit in. And this is what I want to talk about now. But also, all of this is available for free under Creative Commons license CC BY. That is, it's free to share, remix, and even use commercially. And that is, it's approach for free cultural work, I think. But now about the academic work. So if you look in the literature of the use of comics in education, you see that it's nothing new. In the 1940s, there were already quite a few studies reporting the use of comics in education in the classroom. There have also been articles talking about the use of comics for science education more specifically, and even in mathematics or statistics, there have been very few things related to the use of comics, but there have been, it's not unheard of. What I was interested in more specifically is in knowing what researchers thought were the possible benefits of using comics for education, and especially for science education. And this article gives a nice summary of what I found in most of the literature review that I did on the subject. And this table could roughly, very roughly, be summarized in this quote by Will Eisner. The success of comics as teaching tools lies in the fact that the reader can easily relate to the experience demonstrated. And I think this is related to the fact that we all see that, feel that comics is really a friendly medium. But then one may ask, is that all? Is that all there is to comics? And I think not, because if you look at the work from comic theorists like Scott McCloud, Thierry Grunstein, and Nick Sousanis, you quickly see that the comic medium comes with some very interesting specificities that go quite beyond this friendliness and relatedness that was explained in this quote. More specifically, a specificity that is very interesting, has a nice potential to be useful for education, is the fact that in comics, time is represented in space. That is, time is not imposed to the reader. No, the reader can choose whenever they want to go a bit more on the right of the page to read the next part of the story. And this is interesting because time is not so easy to play with, but space is much more. For example, if I just move a little bit the third panel on the right, I instantly give a little sense of a longer duration of the scene. Another thing that is powerful about comics is that when we have one panel, when we read one panel in a comic, this is one moment, but this moment is shown together with a few of the moments before and after, which gives an overview of a few moments, not just one. So now let me try to show you the benefit of that by reading an excerpt from the story of my comic. First, a little bit of background. So in the left, in this panel, you see Alex, and the right, you see Nicole. Alex and Nicole, at some point in the story, are creating, a survey questionnaire. And they quickly, to do some research on some topic, and they quickly managed to get, 42 field questionnaire. But then someone sorry. Someone rings at the door. Alex goes at the door and comes out with a huge pile of survey questionnaire that are filled. Nicole finds it quite fishy, and she suggests they should do a little statistical test to check if they seem right. And now I will continue by reading this part of the rest of the part of the comic of this part. Usually when people want to falsify data, they are careful not to place too many identical digits side by side, because they feel it might look suspicious. But actually, when you look at real data that has not been invented, well, you quickly see that this pattern is pretty common. You sure it doesn't suck like hell or so, this statistical stuff? Might as well do something else, no? What about we prepare guacamole instead? Should I go and turn the oven on? Alex, stop and help me. Those 42 questionnaires that we already have, are you confident that all of them are genuine? Well, they were filled in front of me, so yeah, I'm confident. Okay. So we'll use them to get us an idea of what we tend to find in a questionnaire that has been filled genuinely. For each of these questionnaires, we are going to count the number of side-by-side identical digits that appear in the responses. In this one, there are 24. And we will place those counts just above this line. For this questionnaire, I'm drawing a little circle between the mark 20 and 30 to represent the number 24. Okay, I still think the guacamole idea was better, but well. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You put there are 27 side-by-side identical digits in this one. A bit lame, no? Should I throw it away? Huh? Why throw it away? These are the good ones, no? So we keep them all. What we want is just to see how these numbers are spread over the line. 27, that's it, that's here. If you say so. In this one, it's 31, that one 24, here 28, 22, 28, 35, 17. Okay, so that's what we have so far. Great. Well, I think it's pretty clear. Statistical tests are as crap as expected. We can move on. Alex, we're not done yet. Do the same on one of those questionnaires that we just received. Okay, but you turn the oven on for the guacamole then. In this one, there are 7. Aha. Oh, it's super far from the rest. Yep. Which means that it's fake. Yep. Wow, can't believe it. We got tricked by this dude. Here we go, dustbin and a letter of insults. So this was the extract. And now I want to point you to what I consider the magic of comics. I told you that in comics, time is represented as space, and space is much easier to play with than time. Well, this is well represented in this panel. In this panel, Alex is counting the number of side-by-side identical digits on 6 questionnaires and telling these numbers to Nicole, who write them down above a line to represent the distribution of the numbers. This would, in real life, would take at least 5 to 10 minutes, maybe more. But in comic, we are able to represent it in just one panel. And not even just that, then we can also imagine a page with the other moments around this panel, which make it represent the full construction of the expected distribution of the null hypothesis in one page with a good overall overview of this. And this is just half a page. We could imagine the other half of the page where we'll see the comparison between the observed value and the expected distribution.
Sorry, Nicolas, I'm just giving you a 2-minute warning.
Okay, thank you. So what I want to, my point in this talk is to say that the comic medium has the ability to easily stretch and expand time and represent an overview of different moments. And this is very specific to comic. It's not easily reproducible with text, with literature, or with films. It would be very difficult to do. And so it makes it a very powerful medium to convey complicated processes like we have a lot in statistics. Just to give you a little idea of what we could do with that, well, I imagine a statistic tutorial where I've placed here in a double, in 2 pages, so easily seen by a student, the overall thing. All the extract that I told you, where I left out the comical parts, which are not necessary to understand the concept. And we could, the student could have this, and we could add it some question that help them relate this very informal way to approach a statistical concept with the formal way that they have learned to. For example, the question could be, what are Alex and Nicole doing in panel 5 to 13, where they are creating the expected distribution, actually? Do we need to do all of this in general when conducting a statistical test? Why is it necessary in their case? Well, we could imagine lots of other questions. Now, my issue is that I don't have access to students to test this kind of comic material. And that's why I'm calling for collaboration to see if we could use this example, but maybe other kind of examples, because I can draw, but I don't have students. Also, if anyone has some ideas for funding to help me continue this project, it would be nice. And yeah, thank you for listening.